Hello, Academic Writing 2 students. Welcome to Class 2. The topic for today is paragraphs and document formatting. So go ahead and grab your handout, print out a copy, or you can view it on a mobile device. If you're on a mobile device, electronic device, it might be helpful to have a notebook or scrap of paper so you can write down some information. First, paragraph writing. So you've hopefully written several paragraphs in your lives. I just want to double check that you understand what the concept of a paragraph is. What is a paragraph? Check all the statements that you think that are true that describes a paragraph. Please pause the video, and then when you're ready to continue, unpause it and we'll check the answers together. I'll give you a hint. You should have 2 check marks. All right, let's check the answers. So first, yes, paragraph is definitely a group of sentences that are related to one idea or topic. They are not just a collection of random sentences that are unrelated. Next, they always have supporting sentences. So a paragraph is about one idea or topic, and the remainder of those sentences will support that topic. They often start with a topic sentence, but not always. Sometimes they'll have a concluding sentence, not always. And generally, paragraphs can vary in length from 2 sentences to over 10. Most commonly, I would say academic paragraphs would range between 4 to 8 sentences. There are 3 types of paragraphs. We're going to look at 3 today. You're going to practice writing all 3. So you can read the handout on your own and then I'll explain. Okay, so as the handout says, there are 3 types. There's narrative, descriptive, and expository. So far in your school career, in your English classes, you probably have written more descriptive and expository style of paragraphs. Narrative paragraphs are also common, especially when you're growing up in an English-speaking country. Narrative paragraphs basically tell a story. This is the key. It tells a story. So for example, take a look and please read model paragraph number 1. Europe, here I come. Okay, so after you've read this paragraph, you'll notice that it's a story about this person's travel experience. If you notice some of the common words and maybe the common verb tenses, personal pronouns, there are a lot of I's here. There's a lot of simple past tense because oftentimes you're relating a story of something that happened, you're describing the events. By the way, narrative paragraphs are often found obviously in novels and fictional stories, but also in newspapers. Many articles in newspapers are called feature articles, and these are stories about people or places or events. Now I want you guys to try a narrative paragraph. So imagine yourself in 20 years. You're writing basically a story of today. So give yourself about 5 minutes. You can start with this prompt if you'd like. Today has been so blank. First I woke up. So you can tell the story of today or maybe your weekend or perhaps what you've been doing during this state of emergency. And your audience again is yourself in 20 years. After you're finished writing this paragraph, please unpause this video and we can continue on to descriptive paragraphs. Okay, paragraph type number 2, descriptive paragraphs. So go ahead and you can read the description there and model paragraph 3. Okay, so you can unpause the video now and let's just talk about descriptive paragraphs. So the most important element of a descriptive paragraph that it describes something, its appearance, for instance. Um, that's the goal of a descriptive paragraph. You want to provide a vivid picture for your reader to understand something. So as you can see here, the writer is talking about his or her cat, and notice the word choices that the writer uses. There's a lot of adjectives and descriptions of the cat's actions. For instance, the writer describes the cat's eyes as big and yellow, nose as pink, and the manner in which the cat speaks. For instance, the mouth is usually open and talking or has a sly smile on it. So this is where you can use some really descriptive style phrases to paint a very vivid picture, as I said. Now go ahead and you try. So ignore that part about describing a paragraph with your partner. So if you were in class, actually, we're going to do this in pairs. Um, so please do this by yourself. You can describe, for instance, Nagakute or wherever you're living now. You can describe your room. The point is, you want to describe it in such detail that anybody can understand it clearly. And so, for instance, if your reader's not from Japan, they might not understand what a Japanese style house looks like. So perhaps you can do that. Okay, so go ahead and take about 5 minutes to write a descriptive paragraph about where you are living. Ready? Go! Okay, so you can unpause the video. Hopefully you've written a nice descriptive paragraph there about where you're living. Let's move on to expository paragraphs. And now at the university level, this is the most common type of paragraph that you will write. So academic English often uses expository paragraphs. So expository basically means the goal is to explain something. For instance, you're comparing something, explaining steps in a process. For example, you're trying to explain how to do an experiment, analyzing something, persuading. Okay, so expository shows a deeper level of thinking and often includes abstract thinking. All right, so for instance, take a look at this example paragraph taking the TOEFL test. Go ahead and read that, pause the video, unpause it when you're finished. Okay, so I'm guessing that you have read this paragraph. So things to notice about expository writing. First of all, you're going to use higher level, more sophisticated vocabulary. Second of all, you're going to eliminate personal pronouns such as I, you, me, we. And third of all, the writing should be logical. And this is where you'll often see very, very clear topic sentences and oftentimes conclusion sentences. So in this case, we do have a conclusion sentence, starting with, in sum, remembering these 3 basic points should result in a good test score. Okay? And for the majority of this class, we are going to focus on expository writing. Unfortunately, there are no creative writing classes at Kendai. I would love to teach one of those. We only have academic English. Anyhow, let's move on to the next exercise. So you have a series of paragraphs, 4 paragraphs to be exact. What I'd like you to do is to read them and then label them. N for narrative, D for descriptive, E for expository. All right, so pause the video. When you are completed and have your answers, let's check them together. All right, let's check the answers. So an old bookcase, definitely descriptive. Walk on the Moon, it's a narrative. It's telling the events of that historical moment. Football versus rugby, this is expository. It's a compare and contrast. And Child's Face is descriptive. So that's it for the main content of the handout. Let's talk about the homework. So what I want you guys to do is to choose a topic below, narrative, descriptive, or expository. It says use the space below or write notes about your paragraph. So Generally, a good part of your writing process is to, make a plan or an outline before you actually write, so you know where you're going. And then I'm going to have you guys type the paragraph on Google Classroom or Microsoft Word, whichever one you prefer. Just one paragraph. Don't do all three. I might encourage you guys to do a narrative or descriptive, just because you have fewer opportunities to share this type of writing, with your classmates. You can do an expository if you'd like, but just as a reminder, the first essay, the first paper that you will write in this class is an expository essay. So you can use the narrative or descriptive paragraph that you just wrote previously. That's fine. Okay. So choose one of the three. And then I really want you guys to pay attention to document formatting. So that's the second goal of today's lesson, document formatting, how to submit your digital document properly so it looks correct. So the next part of the video focuses on that.